The roads around here, some of them are one way, some of them spontaneously turn into gravel. It's overall a real bitch of a thing to deal with. Today we're going to be running Sulphur Springs Road and Mineral Springs Road, both of which, after a certain point, turn to gravel. So we're not going to be doing those parts. This road's already tested my patience quite a bit today, just getting to it and trying to figure out what the route was actually like. So this is going to be more or less my first drive down it, and I don't have the patience to cruise back and forth along it or anything like that. So I'm going to head down, head back. That's pretty much going to be it. Whatever we get from that is going to end up in the video. Alright, so this very end of Sulphur Springs Road merges into the town and is a little bit residential. At least I remember that word this time, and I didn't have to talk about different sorts of zoning and stuff like that. I like this little support on either side of the road. I think that's really neat and kind of serves as a nice finishing point. So from here on out, there's a lot of elevation change, blind crests, stuff like that. Most of the corners are around a 40 or 50k an hour corner, though there is a place with two really sharp, I think depending on which way you're running, they're advised 10 kilometer an hour corners, and that is actually for once accurate. There's also one corner that, depending on the direction you're running it, is a 20 kilometer an hour corner, and that is what immediately follows the 10s. So here we go. Again, this is Sulphur Springs Road and Mineral Springs Road over in a very beautiful part of Hamilton. This lower part of Sulphur Springs is fairly wide and open during a lot of it, so you have a little bit of room for activities. Though there are plenty of sharper turns such as this, and in a lot of places the tarmac isn't super well maintained, so be cautious of that if you're driving a lower car, stiffer springs, or even just something that's a little bit newer that's not quite as compliant. I kind of want to try that road off to the left there, but I think that just leads up to some parking or something like that. Another thing to note is, much like Snake Road, there are a couple of places where hiking trails wind through around here, so, you know, same as always pretty much. Watch out for cyclists, watch out for hikers. Unfortunately, it's another road where you're never really going to get too great of an empty run down. Wide in. This is actually pretty nice, the tarmac on this corner. So to the right here is where Sulphur Springs continues up to 99 Governor's Road, but that's pretty much all dirt, rock, gravel, stuff like that. I'm sure it's better when it's not the very, very beginning of spring and there's still shit all over the road, but I came down on that and that was not a fun time. In addition, now that we're over on Mineral Springs Road, it does continue like this for a short way, and it is quite enjoyable. Maybe not quite as room to push as lower down on Sulphur Springs Road, but it is pretty nice. However, after a little ways, it does give way to, again, more gravelly, less maintained roadway. So, as an alternative to trying to find your way up through the town or down along all the gravel, a roadway that I found, I believe, is Bethel Road, or something like that. So we're coming now into the dangerous ass corner. 10Ks an hour recommended, and look at that sign. That is a very specific corner sign, but it kind of fucking needs it. I mean, even at regular speeds, you know, most of the time you can just ignore entirely those sorts of recommendations, and I feel like people not even out for a spirited drive could definitely run into some issues if they didn't have such a detailed corner diagram. So this one here is 20, going the other way definitely 20. You could probably sneak a little higher. I think we're doing 30 here. Yeah. And once you get through the town here, it's more or less over. Trails crossing through and a lot more housing. But from town to town, it is a very nice road. It's not something I feel super comfortable pushing on, because I'm not the kind of person who enjoys sort of getting on it pretty hard out of corners and stuff like that. I prefer more stuff you can carry your speed through, bigger sweepers and stuff like that. So far, between this and Snake Road, I definitely prefer Snake Road quite a bit. Especially because these just turned to gravel, which is a shame. Maybe I'll have to revisit this at some point, but for now, because the really interesting sections you can't really even drive on, I would have to say that I prefer Snake Road quite a bit. Okay, Binkley. Binkley Road is sort of the turnaround point, and where I would say if you want to drive this, you should come down on. So we'll run one more time down, and then I've got to come back up, because the only way I know home is down Governors. So we'll see. I'm definitely not going to be attacking this as hard as I was on Snake Road. Here we are. The start of a well-maintained Mineral Springs. Still some people, some housing and stuff, so you can't go too crazy right off the bat here. But that's a beautiful sign, eh? Windy road, next 4Ks. This is probably the only real uphill section, at least the only steep one. So that's worth noting. Also worth noting, I really need to stop clicking my lips and stuff like that, because I'm sure that's super irritating to listen to. So like I said, I'm not really going to be tearing through here, especially this part anyways, but we're coming again to the strange, I don't know what you would call it. This corner is obviously just a regular right-hander, but I'm not sure how you would describe to someone what the following sequence of corners is. Because I can't think of anything better to call it, I'm just going to refer to it as the bridge. It is nice if there's not anyone around, because the inside of the corners are pretty nicely banked, which lets you carry a little bit more speed than you would otherwise be able to through there. Change of surface here to a small section of newer tarmac, but like I said, it's kind of rough, you know. There's a lot of different ages and pores of asphalt and that sort of thing. So definitely not as pristine a road even as Snake Road, because the second part of Snake Road is more or less all 1/4, from the flat part at the bottom all the way through the faster sweepers. I can't say I adore this road, and so far I'm definitely preferring Snake Road, though it was touted as the best in Southern Ontario, so maybe it's that well known and that revered for a reason. There's still some other places we have to drive to figure that out.